The longevity of any career hinges on the ability to diversify. While there are a handful of ways to generate revenue as an artist, the possibilities become endless when you broaden your horizons. This is 360 Entertainer, building your brand beyond the stage.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dominique the Diva, and welcome to our music conference. We want to have some conversation right here. And of course, we have to talk about branding beyond the stage. Okay, now I've had the pleasure today to also have Big G on the line with me, Q Parker in here with me, and of course, the guy that's coming to daytime television here very soon again, always wearing a different hat as they all are, Mr. Nick Cannon. Joining the convo today, we want to talk about what it means to brand yourself outside of the stage. And I feel like growing up, I wasn't necessarily hearing that from older folks. I wasn't really ever hearing, hey, I need to brand myself. I mean, you can do what I do, but being that we both do the same thing, they should know about me and my sauce. And when do you remember recalling for yourself that, I need to start branding myself so they can understand where it is I'm coming from? Q Parker, let's start with you because you were in a group.
Right. Well, first of all, what's up to everybody? G, Nick, what up? Diva. Pleasure to be on here with everybody. But it's very important. When I came into the industry in 96, it was really all about just focusing on the music. And it really wasn't even taught to us about diversifying and expanding your portfolio, any of that stuff, because for us, it was viewed as if you weren't giving all of your time and attention to the music, then you were not committed. And I've always vowed that I didn't want to be, 60 and 70 years old, solely relying on touring. And as we just saw, and just the music, because as we just saw last year, when all of that shut down, it was really a struggle for a lot of people who only relied on the music industry and just touring. And so I'm a huge advocate as I mentor youths with, my foundation, with my music curriculums. We want to teach you all that you can know about the entertainment industry, but we also want to educate you and give you information about all of these other things, because I believe as a people, we're just so gifted. And it's a discredit to us to allow people to just put us in one box. You are only a singer. You're only a producer. You can only do music. Well, that's really not. It's just a thing that popped me off and it got me into the homes of millions. But there are so many other interests. There are so many talents and gifts and levels of education that I have and that I can utilize to allow me to brand myself in other ways. And so when you add all of these different hats, as you mentioned earlier, we all should be able to wear many hats, because the goal is about diversification. And a lot of times it's just really not smart to just have one stream.
Absolutely. Especially after everything we just went through with the coronavirus and pandemics and whatnot. And one thing you mentioned, Q Parker, you mentioned about the level of education. And I really admire people like Nick Cannon, who, his name, Nick Cannon. And then you hear that he went back to school. He went to Howard University. So what do you say to someone that's like, okay, should I always be open to more education about, when it comes to my brand or their field? Was it important for you to still go back and get your education at HU?
I mean, as cheesy as it sounds, you got to understand that education is the true form of wealth. It's our currency when it comes to, even as you see his books behind me, and like it's not for show. Like those are real. You read
those? You know that?
I try to read a book or two a week just to kind of just stay fresh, stay on top of it, and even just learning and understanding when all of us have kind of been in a scenario where we've had the opportunity to live out our dreams, accomplish things, and pass stuff on to the next generation, whether it's through our art or through our efforts. I personally know, like, there is nothing greater than consuming new information, whether that's about my health, whether that's about my lineage, whether that's so as much as I didn't go back to school to go get a piece of paper. I went back to school to kind of gain more wealth of myself, more knowledge of myself. And I think that doesn't matter what field you're in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, knowing yourself, you got to know that if you're trying to figure out, your brand. And Big G, you're born and raised in DC, and you come from a different area where, it might not be top of mind for somebody to be telling you, hey, kid, you need to brand yourself. Hey, you need to make sure you get in those classes at HU. What was it? When do you remember recalling, hey, I could really do something with this and I need to move differently beyond the stage?
Just put myself around the positive people. Once I let that wild circle go, I just started growing. You know what I mean? And once I got my first role on television, I knew I had to move different. You know what I mean? Right here in my city right now, where you here. Mm-hmm. It's just kids dying every day. Another kid was murdered last night in Wellington Park on the south side. And we just tired of it. You know what I mean? So I had to really let a lot of people go out of my life, and I elevated from there, and I'm still moving, still sitting in meetings with big people that I thought I'd never be able to touch or get around. And that was a change because I'm still here, and you still got to hear the whispers and, oh, he ain't hood no more, he changed, he doing this, he doing that. But, it's just a process of every day knowing that we got to do better and show the little ones around us and the people in our city that we can do better. You can do whatever you want to do in life. You just got to put your mind to it and go get it. It's no excuses.
No excuses. I like that right there, because that's a fact. Once you really get going and you see that, hey, those people that made it, they're a lot like me. I just need to pick up some of the habits that they're doing. So what is something that you might have picked up, on your journey so far where you are now that you're like, oh, thank goodness I do this every day. It really helps me keep my mind right, because with this branding thing, it seems like it never stops. You're never really off of work. Are you guys off work ever?
Nah, not
it's like, especially with Instagram, you gotta, if people don't see you there, they're like,
I need a break right now, but I don't think I can afford to take it.
Okay.
So I'm a people. I always tell the youngest, keep your foot on the gas.
Yes, I agree with that. Because when you wear multiple hats, it's just like a child. You can't give one more attention than the next if you want them all to be able to be successful. So yeah, although you may put down this hat, you're only removing this one to pick up the other one and give it some time and love and attention. So that is true. The grind never stops. For me, it just doesn't, because it's just so many things that I continue to want to accomplish. And in order for me to do it at a high rate and a high level, you got to put the time in.
For sure. I think we all kind of grew up knowing, like, you got to grind. We've seen our parents a lot of times grind it out. But now, what we have? We have this big thing where we're all welcoming, mental health. We're welcoming talking about it. We're welcoming talking to therapy, seeking help, reading books about it. How do we balance that? Because like we said, branding, you're never really off, and then you feel like you always got to keep going, and you do a lot of times have to be on that grind. But what about when you're just not feeling up to it mentally?
That's a good question. Like, a lot of times, like, when you're really not feeling up to it mentally, I have a lot of people always say I need to talk to a therapist or something, because I lost all my siblings. All my siblings are gone. It's just with me, with my mom, and then the kids. So I just put that and say, I got to be the strong one to put it on my back to keep going. And I always say, if I stop, I feel like I crash. So a lot of times we feel that we can't do it, but we just go. Like, I get into I put my earbuds in, I listen to something nice and smooth, or like with me with casting or something, I just recite all my words to myself, and I record it, and I listen to that on the train ride to New York, or on my way back on the plane ride to Atlanta or to LA. I just try to put my mind away from it. And then I stopped drinking alcohol. So that was a clutch where I just used to go, but the problem would be right there the next day. So
music. It sounds like you said music.
So I just flushed it out. You know what I mean?
Do you think everybody should try to have passion projects? Those projects that are or passion project? Do you have like big projects, Nick? I know you have a new movie coming out. She Ball is about street ball. Would you consider that a passion project for you?
I mean, I don't do nothing if it ain't about the passion. That's where everything starts. I mean, I've been blessed to be in a space to where anything I put my hands to, it can be about what I feel in my heart. I don't have jobs and I mean, it goes back to that space of like, find something that you love and you never have to work a day in your life. And, you know, we got to that space for the grind, but now everything I do is either for the community or something that is a passion project. So any film, music, artist I sign, from the Masked Singer on down, like those are things that started as a passion project and just now it's the biggest show on television. So that's but that's the goal, is to only operate at that level. Like you only should do something that you're passionate about.
That's very true. Sometimes it's hard, like on the grind, you know, like coming up when someone is trying to say, you know, when they're at the point they're like, okay, I need to brand myself, right? But then sometimes, you know, the bills is due now, not later. And you're trying to differentiate, you know, what bag you should take and what is better for the bigger picture. What advice do you have to someone that's trying to figure that balance out right there? Like, do I do this? Because I could really use that. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not really meshing with what I say I want going on for myself.
Well, I'll say, you know, life is life, and life is going to throw you the curveballs and all of that kind of stuff. And as much as you have passion, you know, we're not trying to see anybody with passion get kicked out of their house or evicted or anything like that. So, although you have that passion, you still got to have some reality with it too. And if that means going to get a little side gig while you still having your passion projects, you got to do that. You know, you work to where you got to get to until you can do it comfortably in the way and in the time and in the space that you want to do it. But yeah, let's not be so on that passion, and then you struggling and needing to call your homie to slide you a couple of dollars. You know, that's a part of it too. That's a part of the grind too. That's a part. Like, I'm so passionate about what I want to do that I'll do this for the time being so that I can actually operate in the space of my comforts.
Yeah, Q said, don't be getting kicked out the house and then calling me, okay? Because I ain't got it. That's what I'm going to tell you right now. I don't have it. How do each of you decide, like, okay, you know, what am I going to focus on here? What philanthropy work? How can someone decide exactly which way they want to give back if they're having a hard time trying to equate that? You know, because a lot of brands, you want to branch off and just show how multifaceted you are. And you want to pick, you know, something within your community that you want to show you give back to. What would you say to anyone who's trying to figure out where they should go with that?
Well, I just say, just feel it in your heart. Like every Sunday, I feed the homeless. And I do Tent City. I do across from Dunbar High School, and I see people that I went to high school and junior high, elementary with, that's out there with a tent and a hot plate. And they say, gee, I respect you because you're not putting me on video. You're not judging me. And I just sit Indian style where I kind of got in a little altercation with a lady that she said I had to put on gloves to feed the homeless. And I was like, well, they just like us. I went to school with these people, sis. You know what I mean? I'm cool. You know what I mean? We not like all up on each other, like hugging and, you know what I mean, having a party. I'm just making sure they straight and they feel comfortable with conversation with me. I just say, if you feel passionate about giving back, working with the youth, I also work with the youth from my city with gun violence. And we're losing, like, if you guys are up on it, we just lost like 5 young babies, 6, 11, 10, and 13. One 13 last night. And it's really crazy right now. So between the gun violence and the homeless in our city and the opioids, where they like ODing off of Percocet and things of that nature, we got a lot going on in our city. So I try to balance it all, to try to put my work in to show love and be like, really, because I know where it come from. So I had an older brother that overdosed on heroin. So I know firsthand how it feels, and just to be out there being homeless myself at one point, I know how it feels.
Thank you for sharing that, Big G. That's real. I guess really to just look at, you know, your personal life and, you know, take some of those things and apply that to, where you want to give back to your community, because that's a big part of it. Do you guys think longevity wise, those who do decide to brand themselves beyond the stage and really get in their community will have the longevity that they're looking for, no matter what field they're in?
I think you have to get to a place where you just become comfortable with who you are, whether that is in front of millions or in front of two. When you identify with, what you have been called to do, and like, what you're truly passionate about, none of that, the stuff that we were introduced to becomes that important. I know for me, with the way that I give back through my Q Parker Legacy Foundation, I know had it not been for my community loving, supporting, pushing, clapping for me and cheering for me, I would not have had the firmness that I have to weather through ups and downs, contracts and shows, and in the group, not in the group, all that type of stuff. And so when I look at today's youth, I go right back to my community, and I know what the arts did for me. It gave me the freedom to get outside of my neighborhood. It gave me the freedom to go out and explore the world, meet people, achieve certain things. And so with all of the knowledge and experience and the wealth and all of that stuff that I've attained these 25 plus years, it's my duty and it's my responsibility as a Black man, as somebody in the community, to give. I've always said that I'm a servant. And so my goal is to leave here empty. If I leave with still some knowledge, then maybe there's somebody that I didn't get a chance to reach. And so through what I do, my foundation, it's all about educating, giving the information, and just showing the love and support through the arts, because it can take you places, and it can give you certain life experiences that you may not, if you're unable to cultivate the talents and the gifts properly. And so that's what we do, giving them the support, but as well as giving them the education and the information.
When it comes to branding, I have to know, does anyone think it's okay to fake it till you make it? I have to ask that because of social media and trolling, and we curating all types of posts, and we paying to sit on a jet that look like a jet so we could take a pic so they could think we're on a jet, but we're not on the jet. We just paid to look like the jet. So do you guys think that it's okay to fake it till you make it? I know we used to say that, right? But now it's like, is that okay?
My question would be, what's making it? Because if you really make it, you don't gotta fake it.
Come on now.
Go ahead.
Make it.
That's what I'm talking about.
I was really thinking about that, because I think going forward, I'm wondering in the future if we will have to have certain type of conversations with young adults when it comes to social media and children. We're talking about branding, and you can't really talk about that without social media, but they've grown up with this phone in their hand. How will they be able to differentiate between, what's real and what's, differentiate between allowing strangers to tell you who and what you are and what you should stand for, and really knowing that and taking the time for yourself? Do you think there would need to be some type of...
that needs to be the message now for any and everyone. I tell my kids that all the time, like, anything that's on this device is not real. Right, and that's why there's certain things you got to step away from all of that and interact with your family and your people. Turn anything that has technology connected to it off, and have time to meditate and really connect, especially when it comes to family. So, I got to remind myself that constantly, because I am in the world of media and at every capacity. But nothing on this device controls me or moves me, or any device. But I engage in it, and I always say you got to know how to manipulate the media, because the media definitely knows how to manipulate you. So you got to be on top of it and use it for what it is. It's a tool, but it's not the source.
Hey, you could host some classes like that at HU. You can have it. It's called The Tool and Not the Source. Professor in this class.
I like that.
Because look, I know you had to change your phone number or something going on. I've seen everyone FaceTiming you today. It's wonderful to have friends like Kevin Hart to just put your number on blast. Are you okay over there?
I mean, the thing won't stop ringing, but we we get to it. We figuring. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna get him back now.
You have to get him back. You have to prank all of these people, and we want to check it out. How does it feel going into daytime television? I mean, I don't know. When's the last time they had a young black guy clean cut in daytime TV?
Yeah, I don't know if it's ever happened. I mean, again, you know, the last time somebody probably shook up a space like that probably was Arsenio for late night.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's knowing how to use the media in a way to where now we control the narrative. We're speaking for us. We're speaking to us. And, you know, no matter how big or small the platform is, kind of staying true to the message and staying authentic to who we are. So, you know, that's why I did my daytime talk show is just as valuable as this conversation, because somebody's going to get what we feeding them right now in the same way that somebody going to get that if we from a post that we put up or a song that, you know, we write. So it's just really like as this generation of Renaissance men and women, like just controlling our art and knowing that we all are. It's a paradigm shift going on right now that is empowering us in a way to kind of really be a part of the community on every level. Before it was only one black person doing this or one black person doing that. Now it's we everywhere. You know, it's more black billionaires now than it's ever been. It's more people that are starting their own businesses and owning their intellectual properties and understanding this process. So I'm just happy to be a part of the sauce.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for taking the time out to be here today, everybody. And I wanted to ask you this, too, because speaking of having a sauce and just being such a creative, it's a power that you have. And I can't describe the word when you are a creative and you create something that's so amazing and you create something maybe called Wild and Out. And you have so many fans that love this show. And for a moment, we didn't know what was going to happen with the show. And we just love our show so much. But as a creator, who knows that was a thought and something that was created out of your own brain.
Yeah.
How does that feel to know that I created this, and if I need to, I could do it again?
I will do it again. I think more than anything, and then I'll send that out, you know, Big G, Q, you know, y'all family, y'all got to pull up. We start filming again in August. October.
Hey.
Yeah. So
that'd be dope. Yes,
Yeah.
I built something like that initially for my friends. I mean, we talking about, you know, Kevin Hart pulling pranks on me today and ordering billboards of me sending llamas to his house. Yo, me and that dude was eating top ramen together. You know what I mean? Like, and it don't seem like it was that long ago to us. You know what I mean? So to be able to operate on a high level like that, I created Wild and Out for my friends like Kevin Hart and Cat Williams and all of these cats now who are brands beyond themselves. And when we can do that for ourselves and have ownership and operate on a level, I mean, I look at the guys that came before me. I mean, everybody from, you know, the Puffs, but even before that, when we look to the people like the Eddie Murphys, or even we go before that, the Gordon Parks, and before that, we go all the way to the Harlem Renaissance. Like, we've always put on for our people, and especially when it stays true and authentic, the community is going to connect. So I think as long as we keep putting on for each other, it's going to be reciprocal.
That's dope. I had to ask you that because, you know, it is something with creatives, how, you know, you're trying to brand yourself and you want to make sure that your ideas are, you know, that you get credit for them. And then sometimes as you're working through things, when things go a certain way, it's a certain thing that we just have inside when, you know, when you're good at what you do. Big G, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? When you're really good at what you do and you like, now, wait a minute.
Yeah. Like I salute you, Nick. I promise you, man. Like, just to watch everything you do and create and how you just, your friends smile and everybody has a wonderful time on the show. You know what I mean? And then you always push what I really respect about you, how you always push all the young guys and you just make sure they get the outlets to go get their own money and their brand and push. Because a lot of people don't do that. You know what I mean? And you really are a real big person in that. And I respect you for that.
That's love.
I mean, I always tell Cuz that all the time. Chico, I always tell Chico, like, you were the right guy, man. He was like, Cuz, you have no idea. He's amazing. And I, you know what I mean? I salute you, brother.
Nah, that's the fam right there. Yeah, for sure. And again, like it's just as we know, it's real respect's real, man. And when you get to a point, man, you just want to see the next cats take the baton and run with it.
Run with it, yeah.
We here now to just only give information because, I've done everything I could ever want to do, man. I've been blessed beyond this world. It's so much I feel like I don't deserve it. So the only way I can pay it back is to make sure the next cat's got it.
And you doing it.
Yes. Absolutely. So lastly, we want to talk about, intellectual property and things like that that's coming into play because, as things go on, people say, oh, I came up with that. Every time you turn around, something premieres and then someone else a few weeks later is like, we're going to court because 2 seconds of that sounds like this. What have you learned in this industry when it comes to protecting your ideas, protecting your brand, protecting that thing that you do? That's yours.
It's just about protecting yourself and just making sure. I'm always this guy that says, if you're going to be a part of something, really be a part of it. And there were times where, you would just only focus on the creative part of it, and then there would be other people doing the business stuff. But it's just as important as being the creative. You have to understand the business and know exactly what it is you're doing so that you can be protected, so that you can have ownership, and that you won't be that person saying, yo, I created that, and then somebody else is getting the accolades or getting the credit for it. Credit, man, it's everything. And you want to be able to relish in the fact that you created something because this creation allows for the next one. It opens the doors for the next thing. And so you want to make sure that you are protected at all times. And so it goes back to what Nick said earlier, what we even spoke about earlier, the education and the information. Don't be a part. I said, like, don't be an athlete, a football player, but don't know if I get offsides, how many yards penalty that is. If I get an interception in the end zone, is that a touchback? If I run into the other end zone, is it a touchdown? Like, I can't be a part of something and don't know all of the rules. And so that's the only way to be protected, to have the information and the education, so you always be protected.
Indeed.
Is there anything that you learned about money that you wish that you knew when you were, let's just put out an age of 23? That sounds like a fun age with money to me, because I feel like, we might have a lot of resources now, more resources than our parents did. And so I think it's important to share financial knowledge with, our brothers and sisters as everyone's getting money on the gram. But let's really talk about it.
At this point, money is interesting now because, there's only really there's only 3% of actual physical money in circulation. So when you ask about what money actually is, and then when you understand what money is only one form of measurement of wealth. And I'm coming from this Zen aspect of sitting on and looking with this bird's eye view. So when you hear me say money ain't everything, I understand when you got to pay your bills and that money needs to pay your bills. I get that, but don't let that money make you. At 23, I was all about the money. Now I'm trying to figure out what ways of currency and what ways of wealth can I enrich our community that have nothing to do with the dead presidents. You know what I mean? With those artificial notes that we pass around. But because there's so much more. I mean, land, that's real money. You know what I mean? Like influence within your community, that's real money. I look to guys like Magic Johnson, even the people who have the ability to, not only did they make a certain level of money, but they took all of their influence, they took all of their attention and focused in on their community and made more rich people based on the money that they had. So if I had that concept a little bit earlier, I think when you get on that paper chase, it's a selfish thing. Beyond how much money I can make and like, how much can I enrich my people?
There you go.
Then I wish I would have grasped that a little bit earlier.
That's dope. Yeah, I wish that sounded cool in a rap song, Nick. How are we supposed to get this? Say that again. Big G, wrote a beat.
He summons it up though. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times we got these kids, they just think it's about a watch or a car. A car has no value after you buy it. It's a wrap. You know what I mean? So you gotta worry about what's can enrich your community for wealth, for everybody can build. These little girls can be somebody in the future, you know what I mean? And not just thinking that they can go build a body or do whatever, you know what I mean? Because there's so much of that going on right now. And I just hear so much because I'm in the community all the time. And then the little guys, you know what I mean? Everybody wants to be in the industry. Everybody wants a bust down. That's all you hear. So, you know what I mean? If I knew what I knew now, yeah, but you sums it up in one sentence, Nick. Yeah.
Word.
Well, thank you all so much. I want, before we go, to run down all of the ventures everyone is working on right now, because we talked about branding yourself beyond this stage today. And we want to know a little bit of all the hats that you are wearing. We can start with Mr. Q Parker down here, because I seen something that you was posting and singing the other day on the gram.
Well, I mean, music is always, it's always a hat. Q Parker Legacy Foundation is a staple in the community here in Atlanta. Clothing brand, construction, father, husband.
That's dope. I've seen a
lot. Went back to school, Clark University, writing curriculums now for the youth and for students. Working on a residency, so it don't stop, man. I'm even getting into construction.
I was gonna say I've heard a lot of young men getting into that.
Just build, like I'm a builder, I'm a carpenter, and so again, when I put off one hat, if I got a few hours, I'll go get some wood, man, and just start creating some stuff. Real estate. So yeah, I have a closet of hats, and so I try to make sure I'm putting them on regularly.
Aren't we all? Thank you so much for wearing all those hats and still joining us today. Big G, big screen, big backyard. Where we going? What we doing?
Man, with our music, we just working on some fresh stuff, and I'm working on my documentary on my life. Let the world see it. Also, We Own My City, another HBO piece. I just got picked up with 2 episodes. It's 6 as the pilot series, but I got picked up for 2 episodes on that. Just doing a lot of stuff in the community, man, right here in DC. Man, this is just a building block.
Thank you, Big G. Look, it's not even for me, but just for the kids to be able to see you go from backyard to on stage to up the street. They need to be able to see that. And that is so dope that you have a big heart like that to still be around the way, as I like to call it. And lastly, Mr. Nick Cannon, you're getting rid of for daytime TV, a movie, and trying to change your cell phone number.
Yeah, that's what I got. Shout out to Big G and Red Grant stuff. I mean, I remember Red talking about that years ago, man, where, again, somebody else I came up in the game with, grinding and watching him come from DC and just, get his star going. But yeah, man, I got a laundry list of stuff that's always going on. Everything from we've been doing morning, daytime radio for years. From all of the TV shows, Wildin' Out, Masked Singer, a couple of movies that are dropping. We actually getting ready to start a movie we shooting in Atlanta in a minute, Q. So I'll probably catch up with y'all down there in the next couple of weeks. And then, like you said, daytime talk coming from Harlem in September each and every day. So it's we ready. We always got something coming. Putting out books and gear and all of that. So it's always something.
Well, thank you so much, all of you, with all the many hats that you are. You're definitely branding yourself beyond the stage, beyond the screen, beyond the mic. And so we really appreciate you all taking the time to be a part of this panel today. Again, I am Dominique the Diva. Thank you all. God bless you all. We thank you so much for what you're doing for our community. And we'll be out supporting you, of course.